Good morning. I'm Scott Wrighton and I serve as Decatur City Manager. It's my pleasure to bring you these weekly updates about what's going on in city government. Well, with regard to COVID, the news is not good. 165 cases over the weekend, 66 on Monday, 35 on Tuesday. We think it's going to be about 70 on Wednesday this week. 25 counties now in Illinois are on the warning list, including the adjoining counties of Christian and Shelby counties. Macon County is not yet back on the list, but it's headed in that direction. Although we still have capacity at our healthcare facilities, our local hospitals have many more COVID patients, both inpatient and outpatient. One of the indicators that the Illinois Department of Public Health uses for determining warning status is the number of cases per 100,000 population. That number for Macon County has risen to a level it has not been at before, at 183 per 100,000 population. The preferred threshold is at 50, so we are way above that, higher than ever before. Fatalities have not jumped up like new reported cases, and that's certainly good. In fact, that's the only thing that is keeping Macon County out of official warning status. But the Illinois Department of Public Health data, which is always at least a week old, and the last reporting of that data indicated that the positivity rate for Macon County was 7%, and that is far too close to the 8% threshold that would push the county back into warning status. In fact, the information we have more recently indicates that it's headed up. In fact, the positivity rate for our region is 7.7%, so there is a great deal of reason to be concerned. This is serious. Ladies and gentlemen, avoid large groups. Don't go to work if you have the virus or you've been exposed to it, pending quarantine and testing. Contact tracing and other data indicates that exposure rates are higher in these instances, large groups and premature return to work, and where people are not practicing social distancing, mask use, etc. The City of Decatur and some other local employers are researching some ways of deploying even more testing, and as the changing science allows, hopefully find a way to perform more tests that produce results more readily and more rapidly so that less time is lost waiting for results, since much of the time that's lost in quarantine is because we're waiting for results. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a fluid and changing situation. That's one of the reasons that the city uses these weekly videos to try to bring you more information and keep you up to date about changing situations. The State Department of Public Health will again be offering testing late this month and again next month at longer hours than are currently available here in the parking lot, Mondays through Friday at the Civic Center. I've heard people say, well, I know of someone who got the virus despite all the precautions, so doesn't that show that masks and social distancing really aren't that effective? Listen, there's a lot of new information all the time, and we are learning it as we go along too. Even Anthony Fauci changes his mind from time to time on things COVID as new information would require. We certainly do know that the virus is highly contagious, and it sometimes penetrates our best intended defenses. But even when this occurs and someone gets the virus, I believe there's a compelling argument for continuing to practice the safeguards anyway, not just for their preventive value, but also because it decreases the possibility of there being an influx of serious cases, sometimes what we call hotspots, that could overwhelm our local healthcare systems. In short, we need to continue to practice these preventive measures because it levels the curve. Please remember that just because an event occurs outside does not mean that that's also possible to discard your masks or ignore social distancing or be in the middle of large groups just because you're outside. Many infections have been traced back to large outdoor events and gatherings, likely where people made the false assumption that they were safe simply because they were outside. Think about ways to meet virtually. If you need to meet, be careful. Follow safety protocols and enforce your action plans. And for any gathering of 50 people or more, there needs to be an action plan. And in fact, indoor gatherings can't exceed 50. To those of you who have, perhaps from the very beginning of this pandemic, carefully observed these protocols, the city thanks you and is grateful for your assistance. So what else is going on in your city government? Well, at their last study session, the mayor and city council met for a wide-ranging discussion about sewer issues. Sewer issues like where we need to separate stormwater from sanitary waste flowing through our lines, how to prevent overflows, reduce the likelihood of basement backups, and reduce the quantity of groundwater that's infiltrating into our city sewers. While every sewer system in the world has leaks, I think you should know that through the hard work and planning of our Public Works Department, the City of Decatur has made substantial progress over the last several years in reducing excess sewer flows, in reducing basement backups, and reducing pipe failures. One of the decisions tentatively approved by the Mayor and City Council last Monday was to strengthen a program called the Residential Overhead Sewer Program. This is an assistance program funded by the city and the sanitary district to install alternative plumbing in basements that have been subject to sewer backups from and through floor drains and other basement plumbing fixtures due to mainline sewer surcharges. This alternative plumbing scheme largely eliminates basement sewer backups. In the past, the city and the sanitary district paid up to 75% of this cost, with the homeowner paying the other 25%. With the changes that were tentatively approved by the City Council, the city will now pay that other 25% owner portion as well, so the improvements can be installed without cost to the homeowner, up to a total installation cost of $10,000 per house. For additional information, if you believe you have frequent basement sewer backup problems, and to see if this might be right for your home and your basement, please contact our Public Works Department. The media and last week's city video also reported on actions of the Mayor and City Council concerning rent and utility assistance for those persons who have been determined to have been COVID impacted, which simply means that your income has been lost or reduced due to the effects of COVID's impact on the local economy and your job. The Mayor and City Council are pleased to make these funds available, but it is important to remember, and I really want to emphasize this, that the City of Decatur will not be making payments directly to citizens, and the city will not be evaluating whether citizens are eligible to receive the assistance themselves. Instead, we have partnered with a trusted and long-standing partner here in Decatur, Dove Financial Assistance, which you can access at their offices, which are at Northeast Community Fund, to perform the screening, the determination of eligibility, and the distribution of funds for both utility and rent assistance. Until this screening and distribution system is fully in place over the next couple of weeks, the City Council has voted to temporarily suspend water shutoffs. Those water shutoffs will resume in a few weeks, but only for those who are determined to be ineligible for the relief program that we set up with Dove. So, if you've been economically impacted by COVID, please contact Dove to establish your eligibility for these benefits. Next month, the City Council will review another and somewhat smaller aid program directed at helping small businesses that have also been directly impacted by COVID. It's taken the city a little while to roll out these relief programs because they have to be approved in advance by the state or federal government. And I want you to know that our state and federal elected officials from both parties have been assisting the city in clearing these hurdles as soon as possible, but it has taken some time. Please know that a lot of things happen behind the scenes and that we are all trying to work together to speed both our local recovery and to keep Decatur safe. I look forward to talking to you again next week from the City of Decatur.